Okay, welcome back. So we've got, 65 points in the Nifty. Things are looking good. The biggest transaction in India's corporate history could become a reality in 2 days. HDFC Chairman Deepak Parekh says the merger of HDFC and HDFC Bank may become effective from the 1st of July, and he expects the HDFC stock to delist on the 13th of July. HDFC also has bought 1.5 crore HDFC Life shares as it looks to become a majority shareholder in the arm ahead of the merger. There is some more to go there in terms of purchases in HDFC Life. Abhizar Divanji is with us. He's head of financial services at EY India, and Srinivasan Varadarajan is non-executive chairman at Union Bank of India. We'll talk about, of course, implications for the entity itself and implications for the broader ecosystem as well. Gentlemen, good to have both of you here. Thanks very much. Prashant, this side. Abhizar, if I can start with you, any thoughts on the effective date itself? Do you reckon the effective date is going to be the 1st of July? Are there any chances that that gets pushed out a little bit as teams prepare for the final integration, the merger? What's your sense?
I think day one of the merger will be the 1st of July. And I think that's been thought through, and I think it's been worked upon for a while now. So day one of the merger is actually the day on which the merger accounting will start and the entities will start reporting themselves as one entity. Integration is what follows after that over a day 100 period, where they will try and merge the entities into one operation. But effectively, the control, the management will start effective July 1, and I don't see any hitches coming to that.
Mr. Varadarajan, we're going to see a behemoth, I think the 10th largest bank in the world once these two are merged. What does it mean for the competitive landscape for the Indian banking space?
I think it looks positive as far as the Indian banking system is concerned. If you look at any of the large economies around the world, the top 4 or 5 banks constitute almost 50% of the banking system. And in India, we are heading that way. If you look at what's happening in the private banking landscape as well as in the PSU banking landscape, I think consolidation has been something which has been happening over the last almost decade. And this is another big step forward in creating a large private sector bank, which ranks very high in the global banking rankings. And clearly, this is making India a lot more. The Indian banking system a lot more stable, robust, and very attractive destination for people to look at and invest in.
All right, sir, but won't it spell more competition as well? Because you have this large bank that's coming on stream. I mean, has a advances book of 22 lakh odd and could grow at a sizable pace as well from here on. Don't you think it'll be more competition for the others?
Ultimately, the bigger banks continue to become stronger, healthier, and grow faster. And the smaller banks will have to sort of do a lot more lifting to sort of compete. And that's going to be the name of the game here too. HDFC Bank was clearly going to up the pace as far as the other banks are concerned. And the large banks will surely be able to sort of match that. The smaller banks will have to do a lot more lifting. And I think that's going to be the way forward. And the smaller banks will have to pay more, will have to do a lot more running, will have to be much more nimble, and have to build niches and business models which are not very which is overlapping with the larger banks, and they got to find their own niches, whether it's regional, whether it is products. So I think you will have to position yourself differently. The larger banks, the money center banks, as we call it in the US, I think these are the banks. The HDFC Bank will be one such bank, and you have the other banks, whether it's ICICI Bank or Axis Bank. And so these banks will continue to dominate the Indian landscape. The smaller banks will have to find their niches there.
Mr. Varadarajan, just talk to us operationally. I mean, how this how this would work. I mean, as Abhizar also pointed out, that effective date is 1st of July, but after that, I mean, the integration will continue. It will take time because these are such huge entities. But broadly, the bank would have mapped out customers, etc., at HDFC yeah, go on.
All that would have happened over the intervening period. I think over the last year, I think surely in terms of customer mapping, in terms of who's going to do what, how is it going to work, all that would have been done. I think that integration process would have commenced right from the day they announced the merger, and clearly that process would have started. So the whole thing in terms of how it goes forward, I think it's just a continuum. I think there is going to be no sort of D date or T+0 in which the integration is going to start. The integration would have started a long time back. And only from an accounting point of view, the balance sheets and everything would sort of merge as far as Abizar is saying as of July 1. But the integration was started a long time back, and that will be a continuous process, and that will go forward in the coming year.
Abizar, is there any one or two areas which I think we need to sort of watch as we get numbers on a consolidated basis going forward? Any particular segment, anything which kind of will tell us about how the merger itself is going? Any areas of risks, etc.? Any possible areas of friction, or you think it's all going to be pretty smooth?
No merger is ever smooth, and I think even though it's a parent subsidiary entity, I think the mindset of an NBFC, the way an NBFC has been run and the way a bank has been run is pretty different. And ideally now, the bigger challenges that are going to be faced is that there is a 90,000 crore priority sector lending implication that is going to come on the bank over the next some time. Now, how that is deployed and what impact it has on the NIM is a very big issue. So are they going to be doing PSL certificates? You see what will happen to the PSL market. If 90,000 crores of demand comes into the market at one stage, I think that the demand will simply rise significantly, and that will impact the cost of funds. On the other hand, if HDFC decides to set up a vertical to say that let me go and deploy on an MSME sector, how are they going to do 90,000 odd crores worth of deployment over a period of time? It takes real effort. You end up creating a bubble in that kind of a priority sector market. That's one. The second issue is in the SLR CRR issues and how they will be generating cash. I remember ICICI's time, they had to do high cost borrowings, and that high cost borrowings impacted the NIM over the next 5 years. So I think structural balance sheet issues are one thing that the market really needs to worry about, and how these two big things will get tackled. HDFC has done a few right things. So they were not on the bank borrowing side, and as was said earlier, over a period of this announcement to commencement or to completion of merger time, they've actually refinanced a lot of the bank liabilities with bond liabilities. They came out with the largest bond issue sometime last year. So that has helped structurally take care of the regulatory requirements of the balance sheet. But I think going forward, how they deal with the PSL issue and how they deal with the SLR financing is, I think, the two main things that will impact the market. The other thing, of course, is you will see a lot more cross-sell happen. HDFC is a behemoth, and trying to convert a lot of their asset customers into liability customers and making sure that the liability franchise is captured well across customers is going to be a challenge that HDFC employees will need to work towards. And the whole focus that it will have to remain, see, the priority sector today is very much restricted to low-cost housing. How do you meet the other requirements of RBI, which is MSME lending, agri lending? How do you go about it? And the other big thing, the big responsibility, as Mr. Narayan also said, that comes with a large bank is, are you going to be lending to Indian infrastructure, which is a prime need of today? And the larger the bank you are, the better is your ability to lend. HDFC as a group has never lent to infrastructure except housing. How will they lend lead India's growth? These are the areas one would look at.
Mm-hmm. Interesting discussion there. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in, Abizar as well as Mr. Varadarajan. We'll continue chatting with you all through the course of the next few months as the integration between HDFC Limited and HDFC Bank takes place.